Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. I am Kishore and today we'll be solving a puzzle type called All 3 Skyscrapers. This puzzle was taken from the Logic Masters India monthly contest 25 years. All the puzzles in the contest were created by Ivan Koswara, an author from Indonesia. This contest was put forth by him to celebrate his 25th birthday. All the puzzles in the contest had some great themes and had wonderful solve paths, and I would highly recommend giving them a go. The puzzles are still available for downloading. You can check out from the link in the description of the video. Also, if you want to try out this particular puzzle, you can again play it out from the link given in the description of the video. This puzzle was one of the highest pointers in the contest, weighed at about 200 points. So it is expected to be more difficult. Now let's move on to the rules. You have to place a number from 1 to n. In this case, the grid is of size 7, so you have to place numbers from 1 to 7 in each row and each column, exactly once. So these numbers are treated as heights of skyscrapers. So what that means is that if you have a 2 clue outside, this means that when you look from this direction, imagine there is a viewer from this direction, he will be able to see exactly 2 buildings. So each of the digit is considered as a building of the corresponding height. So if you have a 1 for example here, then you must have a 7 here, so that if you look from this direction, you will see exactly 2 buildings. So that's what the outside clues denote. And also the additional restriction is that all possible clues outside the grid which are 3 in value are given already. So that's what the last line says. All 3's outside the grid have been given. So in this particular puzzle, you can see that there is no 3 outside the grid, right? So which means that you can never see number of buildings as 3 from any of the directions. So for example, if you take this direction and look from this direction, you can never see 3 buildings in this direction. So these are the rules. So with that, we'll start solving this puzzle. So as you can see, the theme of the puzzle is beautiful, right? 25 to denote his age. So let us try out the puzzle now. So we'll start by using the highest clues in the grid. The 5 clue means that you can have only 1, 2 or 3 here, because if you have anything more than that, let's say you have a 4, then the number of buildings that you can see from this direction is maximum 4, 5, 6 and 7. So you can see only maximum 4 buildings in this direction. So you can only have 1, 2 and 3 here. And similarly, this cell will also have 1, 2 and 3 and not anything more than that. And similarly, the second cell cannot have anything more than 4, because if you have, let's say, a 5 here, the maximum number of buildings that you will be able to see along column 2 will be 1, 2 and 6 and 7, 4, right? So this is not going to be a 5. So this can only be 1, 2, 3 or 4, and similarly this will also be 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So let us try placing the 7s maybe, or there are very few clues given, so you can't place the 7s immediately, but we can try to restrict the position of 7s. So this cell cannot be a 7 along column 1, this can't be a 7, right? So let us try putting an X inside cells which can't contain a 7, right? So this can't be a 7, this can't be a 7, and all these cells, 3 cells can't be a 7 because of the 5 clue outside. This can't be 7 because of this 2 clue. So 7 in column 7 will be in one of these 2 cells, right? Okay. So, and 7 in column 2 is also restricted. You can't have 7 in any of these 2 cells. You can have the 7 here. And 7 in this column will be in these 3 cells, right? So a 7 may be here. The 2 clue will still be satisfied. A 7 can also be here, no problem. But can the 7 be here? So if you look closely at the outside clue, it is 2, right? You can only see 2 buildings in this direction. So if you have a 7 here, then it means that this building will obviously be seen because it is the first building nearest to the clue. So you will definitely see this one. And you also know that you need to have 5 and 6 in that row. So you can maybe hide a 6 here, but a 5 will still be in front. Or you can maybe hide a 5 here, but a 6 will still be in front, and that will make the total count as 6. total count of buildings as 3, which will violate the outside clue. So you can never have a 7 in here. So 7 in this column should be in one of these two cells only. There is no other possible place. So one important trick in this Sudoku is that, so if you look at the position of 6s in the penultimate rows, by penultimate rows I mean these rows, right? I'll highlight these two rows. And if you look at the penultimate columns, 6 has a very powerful role to play in these highlighted cells, right? So why is that the case? I'll tell you why. Because of the additional restriction that all possible 3s are given outside the grid. So this will help us tremendously. So let us look for example this row and try to restrict the position of 6. Can you have a 6 here? No, right? If you have a 6 here, then this 2 clue will be violated, because you can either have the 7 now in front, which is not possible, and if you have the 7 behind the 6, then you will see 3 buildings in that direction. So 6 cannot be here. So 6 can be in any of these cells, right? Now let us see if 6 is possible in these cells. So if you have a 6 here, to prevent 3 clue from not being here, you need to have the 7 in front, right? Because if you have the 7 behind the 6 in that direction, you will see the number of buildings in that direction as 3, right? So which means that when you have a 6 in one of these 4 cells, you need to have a 7 exactly in front, right? So is that possible? Can we have a 7 in these 4 cells? So what happens? We already know that in column 7 must be in these 2 cells, right? So if you were to have 6 in any of these 4 cells, so for column 7, the 7 gets forced here, and now this 2 clue will be violated, right? Because now if you look from this direction, you will see at least 3 buildings, right? Because 6 and 7 will surely be seen, and we will also see the first building from that direction. So this shows us that you cannot have 6 in any of these 4 cells, right? Great deduction. So which means that 6 has only one possible cell in that row. So 6 has to go here, and that pushes the 7 here, right? Because 7 was in one of these 2 cells, and that because of the 6 here, we get the 7 here. Great. So can we do anything further now? Okay, let us try to look at this column now. Penultimate rows and penultimate columns are going to be very crucial. We have to try to restrict the position of 6s in that rows and columns. So 6, the possible position of 6 in these in this column is all these cells, right? Can you have the 6 here? The outside clue is 2. You can never have the 6 here, right? Because then you will see at 3 buildings. So 6 is eliminated from there, and you can't have the 6 here. Same idea, because if you have 6 in any of these 3 cells, right? This cell is already eliminated because you have a 2 here, and if you have the 6 here, the 7 will be behind and you will see 3 buildings. So 6 is eliminated from here. And if you have a 6 in any of these 3 cells, right, you don't have the outside clue given there, which means that the outside clue cannot be 3 in any of these 3 rows. So if you have 6 in any of these cells, then in order to prevent the outside clue from being 3, you must have 7 in these cells, right? But 7 is not possible. 7 is already marked here. So which means that you can straight away eliminate 6 from these 3 cells, right? Now we have only one cell left for the 6 in that column and we'll get the 6 here. Superb. So these are very narrow deductions to start the Sudoku, but because of the additional constraint, this is how the Sudoku works. This is how the puzzle works. So we have got the 6 in row 2, 6 in column 6. Now let us maybe try to restrict the 6 in this column and this row, right? Can you have the 6 in so let us try to mark the 6s in those columns. 6, 6, 6, 6 and 6, right? A 6 is not possible here, right? Because then the 5 clue will be violated. If you have a 6 here, you will see only maximum of 4 buildings. So that is not possible. So 6 is going to be in any of these 4 cells, right? Now when the outside clue is 2, the second cell from that direction can never be a 6, because if this is a 6, then you either have a 7 in front or behind. In both cases you can never satisfy the 2 clue. So 6 has 3 cells now. And all of these are valid, right? Because if you have a 6 here, to satisfy this row you can still have the 7 here. Okay, but you can't have the 6 here, right? If you look closely at this row, if you have a 6 here, there is no outside clue given, so which means that you cannot have 3 building scenes from this direction, and for that you need to have the 7 here, because if you have the 7 behind that, then you will see exactly 3 buildings in this direction, right? So which means that if you have the 6 here, you need to have the 7 here. Now this 2 clue is getting violated, so you can eliminate the 6 from there also. So 6 has only 2 possible cells left, right? So if you have a 6 here, then you need to have the 7 here, which is quite valid. And if you have the 6 here, okay, this is an interesting deduction. So if you look at these two 6ers and the corresponding rows in which they are present, to make sure that the outside clue is not 3 in that direction, because it's not given, so you need to have the 7s here, right? If you have a 6 here, you can't have the 7 behind, so 7 has to go here. And if you have the 6 here, you can't have the 7 behind, you need to have the 7 here, right? But in this case, if you have the 6 here, you get the 7 here, and to satisfy this 2 clue, you will have a 6 here, but 6 is already here, which means that you can't have the 6 here. Beautiful, guys. A really tough deduction. So you can't have the 6 here. 6 can be eliminated from there. So you get the 6 here. This is a 6, and this would be a, just a second. So this would be a 6 and this would be a 7. Okay, so 7 has 2 possible positions. Now because we place the 6 here, this 5 clue kind of becomes very restricted. So all these cells must be strictly increasing to satisfy the 5 clue. So if this is 1, 2, 3, this must be a 2, 3, 4. Right? And this must be a 3, 4 and 5. Right? And now if you count the number of buildings, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7 would be seen. So you have exactly 5 buildings seen from the direction, which is okay. So now let us look at the penultimate row from the bottom. So try to restrict the position of the 6. So as you can see, I am following a very methodological approach. You know, I was looking at the penultimate rows and penultimate columns and trying to place the 6. So let us look at this row now, row 6. So 6 can be in any of these cells, right? When you have the outside clue 2, you can't have the 6. So 6 is removed from here. Can you have the 6 here? If you have the 6 here, then from this direction, bottom to top, you will see 3 buildings, which is not permissible as per rules. So 6 is removed from here. So which means that 6 must be in any of these 3 cells, right? So for each of these columns, to make sure that the outside clue is not 3, you need to have the 7 outside in these 3 cells, which removes the 7 from here, right? Because in this case, in any of these cases, if you have the 7 behind, then you will see exactly 3 buildings along those columns. So 7 must go into one of these 3 cells, depending on where the 6 goes. This eliminates the 7 from here, so you get a 7 here, right? So this would be a 7. And this clue is satisfied now. Let us highlight that. This is also satisfied, no use. Now we know that for the 2 clue to be true, we can't have the 7 behind the 6ers. So 7 in front of the 6, 7 should be in front of the 6. So if the 6 is here, 7 can go in any of these 3 cells, right? 7 has to go in any of these 3 cells, because 7 can't be behind the 6. Okay. So let us look at this 2 clue now. This building must be greater than the 2 digits here to satisfy the 2 clue. So right, so this can be minimum 1 and 2. So you need to have minimum 3 here, and it can be a maximum of 5 because 6 is here. So this will be 3, 4 or 5, right? but can it be a 5? If you have a 5 here, then along row 1 from this direction you will see 3 buildings. So 5 can't be here, which means that these two cells must be 1, 2 and 3, so that they are hidden behind this clue. Right, now if you look at column 1 closely, you can't have the 5 here, right? If you have the 5 here, then along row 6 you see exactly 3 buildings, because 7 is behind the 6 and you will see 5, 6 and 7 in straight order. So 5 can't be here and 5 also cannot be here. If you have the 5 here and for column 1 6 will be in one of these two cells, then you are again seeing 3 buildings. So 5 has to go in row 5 column 1, right? So now we are slowly shifted our attention to 5s also. We are starting out with 7s and 6s. Now 5 is also coming into action. So 6 has to go here. 6 can't be here because 6 is in one of these 3 cells. So 6 has to go here. Okay, if you look at column 7, 5 has only 2 possible cells left. Row 3 column 7 and row 4 column 7, right? But if it is in row 4 column 7, then along this direction you will see 5, 6, 7, 3 clues, so which is not possible. So which means that 5 has to be here. So this is not a 5, this is 3, 4, which means we are losing 1 degree of freedom. So this will be 2, 3 and this will be 1 and 2, right? So these two cells must be 1, 2, 3, 4. And this must be a 1, 3, 4 because 2 is here, so this must be a 1, 3 and 4. So we are already seeing 5 in this direction, so which means that 6 has to be behind the 7. So 7 can be in one of these two cells and 6 has to be in one of these two cells, right? Along row 3, because if 6 is in front, then you will see 3 buildings, but the outside clue is 2. So 7 has to be in one of these two cells and 6 has to be in one of these two cells, right? Okay, so if you look at this clue, the 2 clue outside, we will definitely see this building, right? And we will also see the 7, which means that this cell and 7 are the only buildings seen. So this cannot be seen. So which means that row 2 column 1 must be greater than row 2 column 2. So this means that this is minimum 2 and this can be maximum 3. So this will be a 2. This was 1, 2, 3, right? So if you have a 3 here, you can no way hide this building behind this one. So this would have to be a 2 and this would have to be a 3, right? So which means this is a 4 and this is 1 and 2 and this is also 1 and 2, right? For column 1. So which means that 7 must be in one of these two cells, right? Because if you have 7 anywhere else, then 2 clue will be violated. You will see more than 2 buildings. So 7 must be in one of these two cells. So these two cells must be 1, 4 and 5 now for row 2. So if you look at row 2 column 3, this cell is either 7 and if it is not a 7, it has to be hidden behind the 3, so it is 1. So this can only be 1 or 7, right? Okay, so if you look at column 2, 5 must go into one of these two cells, but if 5 is here, then if you look at from bottom to top, you will see 3 buildings, right? So 5 cannot be here, so this will be a 5. Really narrow deductions, guys. So no wonder this puzzle was rated very high. So which means that this must be a 1, 3 and 4, right? Okay, you have a 2 here, so which means that this must be a 1 and this cell must be a 3 or a 4, right? So these 3 cells must be 2, 3 and 5, but 2 is in column 3 and column 5. So 2 would have to go here. So this is a 2 and these 2 cells must be 3, 5. Now we have again got a 5 on the border, so which must give us some indication. So can we have a 5 here? If you have a 5 here, right, you can't have 7 in any of these cells because this is not a 7 and 7 cannot go into these two cells. Now in order to make sure that 3 is not the outside clue, 7 must be ahead of the 6. So the only possible option is if you have, when you have the 5 here is you will get the 7 here, and which means that 6 has to go here. That is not possible because 6 is here, right? So if you were to have the 5 here, you can't have the 6 in front of the 7, and that is possible only when you have a 7 here and a 6 here, right? Because 7 cannot be in these two cells, and if you have the 7 here, then 6 goes in front and you see 3 buildings from this direction. So which means that 7 has to be here and 6 would be hidden behind the 7, but 6 is here, right? So that is not a possible option, which means that this is not a 5. So this is a 3 and this is a 5. Now this was a 6, right? A 6 pencil mark was here and 7 was in these 3 cells. Now if you look at the 5 clue here, you can't have the 6 here. We have already established that depending on where the 6 goes, the 7 will be exactly below that. If you have a 6 here, then 7 goes here and you see 3 clues from this direction, which is not possible. So 6 is not here, which means 7 is not here. So 6 must be in these 2 cells and 7 must be in these 2 cells, right? Actually, along row 2, 7 can also be here, right? These 3 cells, but 7 cannot be here because that would force the 6 here and you will see 3 buildings. So 7 can be eliminated. So 6 is in these 2 cells and 7 is in these 2 cells, right? Okay, so along row 5, 6 has only 2 options, right? 6 can't be here, so 6 has only 2 options. Now if you have the 4 here, you will see exactly 3 buildings from that direction, 4, 6 and 7, because 5 is hidden behind. So this can't be a 4, so this is 1 and 3. So this row seems to be pretty restricted for the 5s. So 5 cannot be here, right? So 5 has 3 options left now. So 5 is in these 3 cells, which means that we have a triplet now, right? 5, 6, 7 triplet, kind of Sudoku. So this will be a 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a 2 here, so this will be a 1, 3, 4. Now we'll see if we can eliminate 5 from any of these cells. Can you have the 5 here? If you have the 5 here, the 7 is forced here and you see 3 buildings from this direction. So 5 is not here. 5 must go into these 2 cells, which means that we have a 5, 6 pair now, because 6 was already in one of these 2 cells, which means that you get a 7 here, right? So 7 is not here, and for row 3 you get the 7 here, and that pushes the 6 here, right? Which means that for this row, for this column, 7 cannot be here, so 7 would have to be here. So this will be 1, 4, 5. So row 2 clue is already satisfied, right? So let us highlight it. This is also done. This is also done. So you have a 2 here, which means that you can use the classic part to place 1, 2 here. So this will be 3, 4 now for row 3. So you have a 7 here, right? So 7 cannot be here, so 7 has to go here, which means that, as we previously established, you can't have the 6 here, because if you were to have the 6 here, along column 4 from bottom to top, you will see 3 buildings. So this will be a 6, this will be a 5, and because of this you get a 6 here. Now we should be able to finish very fast. I think we have satisfied almost all the outside clues, and we have got all many digits also. So this 5 removes the 5 from here. So 2, 3, 6, 7. So remaining are 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, and 1, 4, 5. There is a 5 here, so this is 1 or 4, and this is 1, 3, 4 for row 5. There is a 2 here, so this is 1, 3, 4. And along column 3, remaining digits are 1, 3, and 4. Along column 4, remaining digits are again 1, 3, 4. So this clue is not going to help us. Let us highlight that. This is also not helping us. Okay, I think we have to use the vice versa rule, meaning we have to see the outside clues to see if we are seeing any 3 buildings from any direction, right? So you have a 2 here, right? if you have a 4 here, from column 4 from top to bottom you will see 3 buildings. So this is not a 4, so this is a 1, which means you have a 4-5 pair here. This will be a 4-5. So you can remove the 1 from here. This is 3-4 and this is 3-4. Okay, let's look at row 7 now from right to left. Row 7 from right to left. So we have a 7 here. If this cell, row 7 column 6, is greater than row 7 column 7, then you will have the outside clue as 3, which is a violation. So which means that this cell is greater than this cell. So this is not a 1, this would be a 2 or a 3, which means this would be a 1 or a 2. So that this cell is less than this, right? So this is 2, 3, this is 1, 2. And 4 is in one of these two cells, right? So can you have the 4 here? If you have the 4 here, then column 3 from bottom to top, you see 4, 6 and 7, 3 buildings, which is again not possible. So this is 1, 3. So you have 1, 2, 3 triplet now. So which means that 4 has only one cell. So this is a 4, this is a 3, this is 1, 4, this is 1, 2, 4. Great puzzle, guys. Really a great puzzle. This was one of my favorite puzzles in the contest. I really enjoyed solving this puzzle. So what do we do next? Okay, you have a 4-5 pair here, right? 4 is in one of these two cells, and along row 5, 4 is also in one of these two cells. Beautiful. You have kind of restricted 4 to one of these two cells in each of these columns, which means that you can't have a 4 here, right? Because if you have a 4 here, you will force the 4 here, and along row 5 there is no 4 left. So this is a 3, which means this is a 4, this is a 3, and you have a 1-4 pair again. So this is also 1-4, and which means 3 has only one cell in column 3. So this is a 3, this is a 2, this is a 1. So this will be 3-4 and this will be 1-4, right? And now 3 has again only one cell left. So this will be 3, this will be 4, this will be 1, this is 4-5, right? We have a 1-4 pair. So this is a 5, this is a 4, this is a 5, this is a 2. So we have to resolve this now. How do we resolve it? Can we have a 4 here? 4, 5, 6 and 7. Yeah, you can have a 4 there. Can we have a 4 here? 3, 4, 4 is also possible here. Okay, look at this 5 clue. This is not yet satisfied, right? We have highlighted all these cells in green. So this cell is not yet satisfied. So if you look along this direction, if you have the 4 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you are seeing 6 buildings, but you need to see only 5 buildings, which means that this cell is a 4, this cell is a 1, this is a 4, and this is a 1. And we have completed this absolutely marvelous all 3 skyscrapers puzzle by Ivan Koswara. An excellent puzzle, and no doubt a super hard puzzle, which properly justifies the weightage given to this puzzle at 200 points. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me solve this puzzle and also understood the underlying logic on how to solve this all 3 skyscraper puzzles. You need to look out for 3s, I mean 6ers in the penultimate rows and columns, which played a really pivotal role in this puzzle. Do let us know in comments if you found anything better than me in this solve. We'll be really glad to hear that out from you. And please remember to subscribe to the channel. We hope to see you all soon. Thank you.